Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into the world of educational research. Ever wondered how it shapes our classroom and influences teaching methods? Well, you are in the right place. I'm Imran Khan and you are watching Imran's Eduverse. But before getting started, let's have a quick recap of what I have to discuss with you in today's videos. Today's video we will be discussing what is educational philosophy, a brief overview of the importance of educational research, types of educational research, steps in conducting educational research. So let's begin the video. Educational research is a systematic and scholarly investigation into various aspects of the field of education. It aims to generate new knowledge, enhance understanding, and contribute to the improvement of educational practices, policies, and outcomes. Educational research employs various methodologies, including qualitative, quantitative, and mixed method approaches to explore and address questions related to the teaching, learning, curriculum development, student outcomes, and the overall educational environment. The goal of educational research is to inform evidence-based decision-making, facilitate continuous improvement in education, and contribute to the broader body of knowledge in the field. Educational research plays a pivotal role in shaping and improving the field of education, contributing to the enhancement of teaching methodologies, student learning outcomes, and educational policies. Here's a detailed overview of the importance of educational research. Educational research provides insights into effective teaching strategies, learning styles, and curriculum design. It helps educators adopt their approaches based on evidence, fostering a continuous cycle of improvement in teaching and learning process. Research findings serve as a foundation for making informed decisions in various levels of the education systems, from individual classrooms to educational institutions and policy-making bodies. Policymakers rely on research to develop evidence-based policies that can positively impact educational systems. Educational research identifies and validates best practices in teaching and learning, helping educators implement methods that have proven to be effective. It contributes to the dimensions of successful strategies, allowing educators to learn from each other and adopt approaches that work. Research in education delves into the diverse needs of students, considering factors such as learning styles, cultural backgrounds, and societal needs. This understanding allows educators to tailor their teaching methods to meet the individual needs of students, promoting inclusivity and equitable education. Educational research assesses the effectiveness of educational programs, interventions, and reforms. Evaluative research helps identify what works and what doesn't, guiding the refinement of programs to maximize their impact. Research in education contributes to the development of educational theories, frameworks, and models that enhances our understanding of the learning process. Theoretical advancements provide a conceptual basis for designing innovative and effective educational practices. Educational research emphasizes evidence-based decision-making, encouraging educators and policymakers to rely on data and empirical evidence rather than anecdotal or unverified practices. This approach enhances the credibility and effectiveness of educational initiatives. Research anticipates and addresses emerging challenges in education, such as technological advancements, changing workforce needs, and evolving societal expectations. Educational research helps ensure that education remains relevant and responsive to the evolving needs of learners and society. In summary, educational research is indispensable for the continual improvement of education systems. It guides educators, policymakers, and stakeholders in making informed decisions, fostering innovation, and ultimately contributing to the creation of more effective, equitable, and responsive educational landscapes. There are three types of educational research: descriptive educational research, correlational research, and experimental research. Let's take things off by understanding the different types of educational research. We have got descriptive research, correlational research, and the game-change experimental research. Each plays a unique role in unveiling the mysteries of effective learning. Descriptive research in education is a methodological approach that seeks to provide a detailed account or snapshot of a phenomena without manipulating variables. This type of research is crucial in understanding and describing the characteristics, behaviors, or conditions within educational systems. Here is a detailed overview of the descriptive research in education. The primary goal of descriptive research in education is to depict the current state of a situation, identifying and describing its key features. It aims to answer questions such as what is happening or what is the current status of a particular educational aspect. Non-experimental research. Descriptive research is non-experimental, meaning researchers do not manipulate variables but observe and describe the existing conditions. Researchers often use observational methods, surveys, or content analysis to collect data. Descriptive research typically involves a cross-sectional design, capturing a snapshot of the situation of a specific point in time. Types of descriptive research. Observational research. Researchers directly observe and record behaviors, interactions, or events within educational settings. This method is valuable for understanding natural behaviors without external influences. Survey research. Surveys and questionnaires are commonly used to collect data from participants, providing insights into attitudes, perceptions, or characteristics within the educational context. Content analysis. This involves systematically analyzing documents, materials, or artifacts related to education to identify patterns, themes, or trends. Common environments. Descriptive research helps characterize and understand the dynamics within classrooms, including teaching styles, student interactions, and learning environments. Student performance. Researchers use descriptive methods to examine and report on student achievement and learning outcomes and academic progress. Educational practices. Descriptive research informs educators about the prevalence of effectiveness of various teaching strategies, technologies, and interventions. The data collection and analysis. Qualitative data. Descriptive research often involves collecting qualitative data through methods such as interviews, open-ended surveys, or content analysis of written materials. Quantitative data. Quantitative approaches may also be used, with researchers employing statistical analysis to summarize and describe numerical data. These are some of the limitations of descriptive research. Lack of causation. Descriptive research does not establish causal relations between variables as it focuses on describing rather than explaining phenomena. Potential for bias. The presence of bias, whether from researcher or participants, can influence the accuracy of descriptive findings. Here is a brief account of importance for educational planning. Descriptive research is instrumental in informing educational planning and decision making by providing a comprehensive understanding of current educational conditions. School administrators, policymakers, and educators can use descriptive research findings to identify areas for improvement, allocate resources effectively, and make informed decisions. In conclusion, descriptive research in education serves as a valuable tool for capturing the richness and complexity of educational phenomena. Through careful observation and analysis, researchers can provide detailed insights that contribute to a deeper understanding of educational context and support evidence-based decision-making within the field of education. The correlational research in education is a quantitative research method that explores the relationships between two or more variables without manipulating them. This type of research aims to examine the extent to which changes in one variable are associated with the changes in another, providing valuable insights into the patterns and the strengths of these relationships. Here is an overview of the correlational research in education. The primary purpose of correlational research in education is to identify and measure the degree of association between variables. It seeks to answer questions like, is there a relationship between X and Y, or to what extent does a change in X correspond to a change in Y? Here are some of the characteristics of correlational research. Quantitative data. Correlational research relies on numerical data to establish patterns and associations between variables. No causation. Unlike experimental research, correlational studies do not establish causation. They can identify relationships but not the cause and effect nature of these relationships. These are some of the most important types of correlation. Positive correlation. As one variable increases, the other variable also increases, or as one decreases, the other decreases. Negative correlation. As one variable increases, the other variable decreases, and vice versa. Zero correlation. There is no discernible relationship between the variables. Here are some of the applications in education. Student achievement. Correlational research is often used to explore the relationship between various factors in student academic performances, such as correlation between study habits and exam scores. Teaching methods. Researchers may examine the correlation between different teaching methods and student engagement or learning outcomes. Socioeconomic status and educational attainment. Correlational studies can investigate the relationship between socioeconomic status and educational achievement. What type of data and analysis are used in correlational research? Survey research. Correlational research frequently uses surveys to collect data on multiple variables from participants. Statistical analysis. The statistical techniques like Pearson correlation coefficient or Spearman's Frank correlation coefficient are commonly employed to analyze the strength and direction of relationship between variables. Here are some of the strengths of correlational research. Real-world relevance. Correlational research often reflects real-world complexities, providing insights into naturally occurring relationships. Predictive value. Identifying correlations can contribute to predictive models, helping educators anticipate outcomes based on certain variables. There are also some limitations of the correlational research. No causation. The primary limitation is the inability to establish the causation. Correlations do not prove that changes in one variable cause changes in another variable. Third variable problem. The presence of an unaccounted third variable can confound or influence the observed correlation between two variables. Some ethical considerations. Researchers conducting correlational studies in education must prioritize ethical considerations, ensuring participants' confidentiality, informed consent, and responsible data handling. Correlation research findings can inform educational policies and interventions by identifying factors that are associated with positive or negative outcomes. Educators and policymakers can use these insights to make informed decisions aimed at improving educational practices. In conclusion, correlational research in education provides a valuable method for exploring association between variables in complex educational environments. While it may not establish causation, it offers practical insights that contribute to a deeper understanding of the factors influencing educational outcomes and can guide informed decision making in the field of education. Experimental research in education is a rigorous scientific method that involves manipulating one or more variables to observe the effect on another variables. It is designed to establish causal relationships and test hypotheses, allowing researchers to draw conclusions about the cause and effect nature of educational phenomena. Here is a detailed overview of experimental research in education. The primary purpose of experimental research in education is to investigate causal relationship between variables by manipulating an independent variable and observing its impact on a dependent variable. It aims to answer questions such as, does intervention X cause change in outcome Y, or what is the effect of method A compared to method B on student performance. Here are some of the characteristics of experimental research. Number 1. Controlled environment. Experimental studies are conducted in controlled environments to minimize extraneous variables that isolate the effects of the manipulated variables. Number 2. Random assignment. Participants are randomly assigned to experimental and control groups to ensure that any observed differences are not due to pre-existing differences between the groups. Components of experiments. Number 1. Independent variable or IV, the variable manipulated by the researcher. Number 2. Dependent variable or DV, the variable measured to observe the effect of the independent variable. Number 3. Control group, the group that does not receive the experimental treatment, providing a baseline for comparison. Number 4. Experimental group, the group that receives the experimental treatment or intervention. Some of the applications of experimental research in education are: Number 1. Evaluating teaching methods. Experimental research is used to compare the effectiveness of different teaching methods, curricula, or instructional strategies. Number 2. Assessing interventions. Researchers may conduct experiments to assess the impact of interventions, such as tutoring programs or educational technologies, on student outcomes. Number 3. Testing educational policies. Experimental studies can be employed to evaluate the effects of educational policies or reforms. Data collection and analysis. Number 1. Quantitative data. Experimental research relies heavily on quantitative data, often collected through standardized tests or assessments or measurements. Statistical analysis. Statistical methods including t-tests or ANOVA are used to analyze the data and determine if observed differences are statistically significant. Some of the strengths of experimental research. Number 1. Causation. Experimental designs allow researchers to establish causal relationship between variables, providing strong evidence of cause and effect. Number 2. Control over variables. The controlled environment and random assignment enhances the researcher's ability to control extraneous variables and isolate the impact of independent variables. Limitations of the experimental research. Number 1. Artificial settings. The controlled environment may not fully replicate real-world educational settings, leading to questions about the external validity of the findings. Number 2. Ethical concerns. Some educational interventions may pose ethical concerns, and researchers must ensure the well-being and informed consent of participants. Ethical considerations while conducting experimental research in education. Researchers conducting experimental studies in education must adhere to ethical guidelines, ensuring participants' confidentiality, informed consent, and responsible treatment of data. The importance of educational decision making. Experimental research findings provide evidence-based insights that inform educational decision making, guiding the adoption of effective practices and interventions. Policymakers and educators can use experimental research to make informed decisions about educational strategies and that positively impact student outcomes. In conclusion, experimental research in education is a powerful tool for establishing causal relationship and testing hypotheses. Despite its challenges, it plays a crucial role in advancing the understanding of effective educational practices and interventions, ultimately contributing to the evidence-based decision-making in the field of education. Now let's break down the steps involved in conducting educational research. From formulating that crucial research questions to analyzing data and drawing solid conclusions, we have got you covered. It's a journey, but trust me, it's worth it. Conducting educational research involves a systematic process that encompasses various key steps. Whether exploring teaching methodologies, student outcomes, or educational policies, researchers follow a structured approach to ensure the validity and reliability of their findings. Here is a detailed description of the steps in conducting educational research. The research journey begins with identifying a clear and focused research question. The questions should be specific, relevant, and aligned with the goals of the study. It sets the direction for the entire research process. Before diving into data collection, researchers conduct a thorough review of existing literature. This involves examining relevant studies, articles, and scholarly works to understand the current state of knowledge on the chosen topic. The literature review helps identify gaps in knowledge and informs the research design. Researchers must carefully design the study, outlining the research methods, variables, and data collection procedures. The study design may be quantitative, qualitative, or a combination of both, depending on the research question and objectives. The process of selecting participants or sampling is a critical step. Researchers must choose a representative sample that reflects the population they wish to generalize their findings to. Various sampling methods such as random sampling or stratified sampling may be employed. Depending on the research design, researchers collect data using appropriate methods. This could involve surveys, interviews, observations, experiments, or a combination of these. The choice of data collection method should align with the research questions and design. Once data is collected, researchers analyze it to draw meaningful conclusions. Quantitative studies often involve statistical analysis, while qualitative studies may use thematic analysis or content analysis. Rigorous and appropriate analysis methods ensure the reliability and validity of the study findings. Based on the analysis, researchers draw conclusions related to the research questions. They interpret the results, considering the implications for the educational context and addressing whether the findings support or refute the initial hypothesis. Researchers disseminate their findings through scholarly publications, conferences, or other platforms. Sharing results contributes to the broader academic community's understanding and allows for peer review and feedback. Researchers reflect on the entire research process, considering their strengths, limitations, and potential areas for improvement. This reflection informs future research endeavors and contributes to the ongoing development of educational research methodologies. Throughout the research process, ethical considerations are paramount. Researchers must ensure the well-being and informed consent of participants, maintain confidentiality, and adhere to ethical considerations established by research institutions and ethical review. The field of education is dynamic, and researchers should engage in continuous learning. Staying abreast of new developments, methodologies, and educational trends ensures that research remains relevant and impactful. By meticulously following these steps, educational researchers contribute to the advancement of knowledge in the field, fostering evidence-based practices and informed decision-making within educational settings. That's all from now. This was the first part of the video. I'm eager to share with you the challenges on educational research, impacts of educational research, some examples of educational research projects, and tips for conducting educational research in next video. Please like and share this video and do subscribe to the Imran's Eduverse for exciting and inspiring content on education. Thank you for watching this video. This is your host Imran Khan signing off from now. Keep learning, keep growing.